Hi, I am Dr. Abhishek Joshi, and this lecture is dedicated to the digital modulation, specifically for modulation and demodulation of FSK, that is frequency shift keying. So what is FSK? So when the data are transmitted by varying the frequency, we have the case of the frequency shift keying, that is FSK. As shown in the figure, we will discuss. 0 is transmitted by the pulse, that is omega C0, and 1 is transmitted by omega C1. So the information about the transmitted data resides in the carrier frequency, and the FSK signal can be viewed as a sum of two interleaved ASK signals, because we are representing two data levels by two different frequencies, that is omega C0 and omega C1. So one of the modulating frequency is omega C0 and the other one is omega C1. So we can write the expression for FSK signal or FSK modulated signal as the summation, that is AK, the pulse, that is Pt minus K times Tb cos of omega C1t, plus summation 1 minus AK Pt minus KTb cos of omega C0t. So as we can observe from this equation that omega C1 and omega C2 are representing two different data levels, that is AK and 1 minus AK. So here we have two data levels, that is 0 and 1 is on and off. Thus the FSK signal is the superposition of two AM signals with different carrier frequencies and different but complementary amplitude. So here when we are talking about the binary data, we have the signal that is 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 1. So we are representing it in the form. So we will separate out the ones, that is a one data level, and we will multiply it by some carrier, that is omega C0, and then we will separate out zeros, then we will multiply it by the another carrier, that is omega C1. So accordingly we can see that one, that is a high data level, is represented by higher frequency and 0 is represented by the lower frequency. So here we can see where we have 1, we are having the higher frequency, where we have 0, we have the lower frequency. Then again we have 1, so it is having the higher frequency, again 1, higher frequency, 0, we are having the lower frequency. Here we have 0, lower frequency, here we have 0, lower frequency, here we have 1, so higher frequency. So this is the basic concept of frequency shift keying. So how we can generate the frequency shift keying? This we have seen using the waveform. So here we can have the signal, that is SIT, that is representing our signal, that is given by under root 2 EB by TB cos of 2 pi FIT from the duration, that is a bit duration from 0 to TB, where the value of I is varying from 1 to, and EB is a transmitted signal energy per bit, and the transmitted frequency is given by Fi, that is having the carrier frequency, and C plus I by T, means carrier frequency is shifted by I, that is integer, divided by the time period T. So how we can find the basis function for frequency shift keying, and how many basis functions will be there? So we are representing our signals by two different carriers, that is A cos of F1t and A cos of F2t. Now let's find. S1t is given by A cos of F1t and S2t is given by A cos of F2t. Now using the Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization procedure, G, the intermediate function, is given by, that is GIT is equals to SIT minus summation J is equals to 1 to I minus 1 Sij phi jt, and the Sij, this component can be written as, that is integration from Si into Sit into phi jt dt from 0 to t, and the orthonormal basis function, that is phi it, is given by git divided by under root integration from 0 to tb gi square t dt. So this will be the basis function or orthonormal basis function. So now we have the signals, two signals given by S1t and S2t respectively. We have to solve for the basis function, so we have to find the basis function, so we have to solve for it. So this means when we are substituting I equals to 1, we have git is simply as sit, because this component will be equals to 0, because this is not possible that j is equals to 1 to 0, so that is not possible. So this term will be equals to 0, so we have only the one component, that is git is equals to sit, so we don't have to calculate this directly. We can find phi 1t, that is equals to S1t divided by energy of S1t. So we can rewrite the basis function, that is phi 1t, as it is given by S1t divided by under root of its energy, that is from 0 to tb S1 square t dt. Now S1t is with us, so we can find the energy. So energy of S1t is given by 0 to tb, and S1t is given by a cos of F1t square dt. As we can see here, it is given by a cos of F1t. So we can further expand it as from 0 to tb a square cos square F1t dt. Now we can further expand this as with a trigonometric identity. It is given by 1 plus cos of 2 omega or F1t by 2. So we can write it as integration, that is a square we can take outside, a square by 2, what is left is 1, or you can say dt from 0 to tb plus the second term is given by integration 0 to tb 1 plus that is cos of 1 we have already taken, cos of 2 f1t by 2 dt. Now for the entire cycle, that this integration, so 2 we have already taken outside common, okay, so 2 we can neglect. So the integration for the entire cycle will be equals to 0. So what is left is, that is the first term, that is a square by 2, and integration of dt will be t. So substituting the limit, we have upper limit minus lower limit, so what is we are getting is a square tb by 2. So we have the energy given by a square tb by 2. Now if we substitute this energy in our basis function, the first basis function will be given by, that is S1t a cos of F1t and under root of its energy, under root substituting the energy which is given by a square tb by 2, so a square tb by 2. So if we see here, it is a square under root, so a square we take outside, so a square and this will be cancelled out. What is left is cos of f1t by under root tb by 2. It can be further simplified as, so we can write phi 1t can be written as, that is root of 2 by tb cos of f1t. Similarly, if we find phi 2t, again it is given by a cos of f2t, so phi 2t we can directly write it as root of 2 by tb cos of f2t. So these are the two orthonormal basis function which are normal to each other, and we can use these two carrier frequencies or normal functions to represent two data levels. So here we can write it as, that is phi 1t and phi 2t can be written as, that is under root 2 by tb cos of 2 pi f1t. 0 to TB and 0 elsewhere, where the value of I is 1 and 2, and the coefficients of Sij, because we have to find the relation between the coefficients, that is Sij, where j is having the values 1 and 2. So this Sij, according to the Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization procedure, this I have already explained you even in the previous lectures also, that is the integration from 0 to TB SIT phi jt dt. So what is the SIT? SIT we have already explained here. SIT is given by root 2 EB by TB cos of 2 pi FIT. So it is here, and phi jt from here we have substituted, that is root 2 by TB cos of 2 pi F1t dt. Now if we can see, if you substitute, if you say that I is equals to j, if you substitute I equals to j, these two terms will be same, and this means we are getting cos square term, and this cos square term, if we further expand it as 1 plus cos of 2 pi F1t by 2, so we'll get only the energy, that is root of EB. And when we are saying that both these frequencies are different, then this will result it as, because the dot product of two different signals or two normal functions will be equals to 0. So this means when we are saying I is not equals to j, then the result will be that the Sij will be equals to 0. So for S11 we can say it is root of EB, for S12 it is equals to 0. Similarly we can find S22 and S21. So you will get 0 and root of TB. So if we represent in terms of the orthonormal basis function, because we have 2 points in terms of phi 1 and phi 2, here we have phi 1 and phi 2. So in terms of, we have the coordinates of S1 and coordinates of S2 in terms of phi 1 and phi 2. So we can represent, if we have the x-axis as phi 1, y-axis as phi 2, so in terms of the signal space diagram, or we can call it as a constellation diagram, these two symbols can be represented as, that is S1, or you can say M1 message point, it's root EB comma 0, and here we have 0 comma root EB. So according to the x-axis and y-axis we have represented our two message points, that is M1 M2, or you can say S1 S2. Now the distance between these 2 points is given by root 2 EB. So distance between these 2 points is root 2 EB according to the distance formula, because we know that distance can be calculated as under root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So this will be the distance. So here we can see the coordinates are root EB comma 0, and coordinates for S2 are 0 comma root EB. So if we substitute here, so distance will be given by under root of, that is x2 is 0 minus root of EB whole square plus y2 is given by root of EB minus 0 whole square. So if we solve it, we'll get is under root of this minus of root EB whole square will be EB plus, and root EB whole square will be again EB. So we'll get under root of 2 EB. So under root of 2 EB will be the distance between the two message points, as we can see here. So we have the distance. Now half of the distance will be putting the threshold level. So half of the distance, here we can see we are putting the threshold level, or this is the decision boundary for a FSK signal. So we are representing our FSK symbols in terms of the orthonormal basis function phi 1 2 and phi 2, where we can see this phi 1 and phi 2 are represented as this. We have the symbols, that is S1t, and this is our symbol, that is S2t, and it is having root 2 EB by 2, that is having the amplitude, and the amplitude here we can see. So these are the representation of two message point, where we can see one is having the lower frequency, another is having the higher frequency. Now how we can generate a FSK signal? So this is our task. How we'll generate, because we have to split two levels, then we have to multiply the carriers accordingly. The high data level will be multiplied by higher frequency, the lower data level is multiplied by the lower frequency, or vice versa we can use. But this is the general prediction or general trend, that we are multiplying the higher frequency by higher carrier and lower frequency by lower. So we have the binary data sequence in form of ones and zeros like this. Now using the on-off level encoder, this encoder will split into two levels. If we have the 1, then it will be passed to this. If we have 0, then it is passed to this. Okay. Now here we can see we have the streams of ones, and here we have the stream of zeros. Now this stream of zeros, because if you multiply any basis function or the carrier with 0, it will be 0. So first we have to convert these zeros with the help of the inverter. So these bits will be inverted. So we will be getting the output of the inverter as dash 1 dash dash 1. Now here we can see the output. Now here we have 1 dash 110. So here these are the blank. Okay. Now here we have, after the inverter we have this. Now we can easily multiply our basis function, or you can say the second carrier phi 2t, that is equals to root 2 by TB cos of 2 pi f2t, and here we are multiplying it with the higher frequency, that is phi 1t, that is root of 2 by TB cos of 2 pi f1t. Now after the multiplication with the product modulator, these two signals are summed up, and the summation of these two signals are given by the binary FSK signal. So let's take one example to understand in terms of the waveform. We have the data given by, that is 1 0 1 1 0. Okay, this is our data with respect to time 1 0 1 1 0. Now splitting the ones. So the first term is splitting ones, we have this data 1, and then here we have 1, and here we have 0. So this term is multiplied by the higher frequency. So what we will get after the multiplication, we will get higher frequency, and here we will get, here we have 1. Now for zeros, we will be representing the waveform as, so first we have 0 here, then we have, after 2 ones we have 0 here, last point. After the inverter, using this inverter, what we have this data after 2 ones. Okay, now we'll multiply with the carrier that is having the lower frequency. The output will be the lower frequency here and lower frequency here. Now the summation of this and this will be the FSK signal. So this is also ASK, this is also ASK. So ASK1 and ASK2 was added. So here we are getting ASK1, here we are getting ASK1, ASK2. So addition of two ASK signals will result. So the output of this FSK will be higher frequency, then lower frequency, then higher frequency, then lower frequency. So this will be the FSK signal, that is a combination of two ASK signals. So once the binary FSK can be viewed as two interleaved ASK signals with carrier frequency omega C0 and omega C1 respectively. So therefore FSK can be detected using the coherent and non-coherent detection. So either a coherent can be used. So in non-coherent detection, the incoming signal is applied to the pair of the filter tuned to omega C0 and omega C1 respectively. So each filter is followed by a envelope detector. So the output of the envelope detector are sampled and compared. Okay. So if 0 is there, if 0 is transmitted by a pulse, that is omega C0, then this pulse will appear as the output of the filter, that is omega C0. So this is the concept of the FSK demodulation in case of non-coherent detection. So practically no signals appear at the output of the filter tuned to omega C1, hence the sample of the envelope detector output following omega C0 filter will be greater than the sample of the envelope detector output following, where we have omega C1 filter that receives, or the receiver decides that 0 was transmitted. In that case of 1, the opposite happens. So FSK can be detected coherently also, where we can multiply our signals by generating two reference frequencies, that is omega C0 and omega C1, for the two demodulators, to demodulate the signal received and then comparing the output of the two modulators. So as we can see in this diagram which is in the slide, so first I will explain that coherent FSK detector must generate two carrier frequencies in synchronization with the modulation carrier. Once again, the complex demodulator defeats the purpose of FSK, which is designed primarily for simpler coherent detection. So in practice, the coherent FSK is not in use, so we are especially using the non-coherent FSK. So coherent, as we can see here, we have XT, this is our received signal, or you can see the received FSK signals. Now the basis functions, that is F1, or you can say phi1t and phi2t, having the carrier frequencies F1t and F2t respectively. So after the multiplication, the carrier will be cos square F1t, here will be cos square F2t. So due to the multiplication of the carriers, we will be getting the higher frequency component and the DC component. So while using the integrator, or you can say a low pass filter, this higher frequency component, that is cos 2 F1t component, will be 0, and what is left is the DC components. DC components are represented by x1t and x2t respectively. Now the summation of, you can say, the stream of ones or stream of zeros, we are summing up and then we are taking the decision if the received sample is greater than 0, then we will choose 1, otherwise we will choose 0 if the sample is less than 0. So the binary FSK signal can be represented as, that is, we have to find the power spectral density, power P as D of the FSK signal. So we have the ST, that is given by under root 2 EB by TB cos 2 pi FCT plus minus pi T by TB for the range from 0 to TB, and using a well-known trigonometric identity, we have ST, that is given by root 2 EB by TB cos of plus minus pi T by TB cos of 2 pi FCT minus under root 2 EB by TB sine plus minus pi T by TB sine of 2 pi FCT. So we have under root 2 EB by TB cos of 2 pi T by TB cos 2 pi FCT plus minus plus, because here we have expanded cos A plus minus B, so it will be cos A cos B and sin A sin B. So this is simply the trigonometric expansion. So after solving it, we are getting GT, that is equals to root of 2 EB by TB sine pi T by TB ranging from 0 to TB and 0 elsewhere. So the power spectral density of the FSK symbol is given by 8 times EB TB cos square pi TB F by pi square 4 TB square F square minus 1 whole square. So this will be the power spectral density of FSK signal. So we can represent in the frequency domain the power spectral density of FSK signal, that is given by EB by 2 TB and delta function. So we have delta, that is F minus 1 by 2 TB plus delta of F plus 1 plus 2 TB plus 8 EB cos square pi F TB by pi square 4 times TB square of F square minus 1. So here we can see, here this we have to note that we are having the component, that is F minus T by TB, that is FC0. So this is the FC0 component, and we have the high frequency component represented by F plus 1 by 2 TB, that is our high frequency component. So here we have FC0, here we have FC1, where it is represented by F minus 1 by 2 TB, and here it is represented by F plus 1 by 2 TB. So we have two different frequency components. Initially, for the data, we are having the sinc function which is at 0. For the rectangular pulse, we have the sinc function at 0 frequency, or you can say DC, but due to the modulation with the high frequency carrier, these are splitted into, because this data stream of ones and zeros is splitted into two. Okay, this is for 0, this is for 1. Okay, so this is the representation, or you can say the power spectral density representation of FSK signal. So in this lecture we have discussed about FSK modulation, so how we can modulate it, and the demodulation. So there we have discussed two techniques, that the coherent detection and non-coherent detection. So in coherent we have multiplied with the basis functions, and non-coherent, this is the general as used in ASK also. So here I am stopping this lecture. Thank you.